Hopefully the turkey was good because we are ready to break down some football here. SportsGrid College football today. Lisi's already laughing. I'm Donnie Rightside, and away we go. Week 14, Joe, rivalry week.
Yeah, love it. I can't
You're
wait.
my rival.
But
we're rivals right here.
Yeah, we are because, you opened the show about hope the turkey was good, and you had Chinese food for Thanksgiving.
I did not have Chinese food.
Yes, you did.
I mean,
You
what
did.
the
You just
lie
don't want
straight
to
off the
admit
bat
it.
here.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You did.
With little mozzarella sticks? What else do we have along with that?
I saw the
Sweet
tweet,
and sour
Donnie.
chicken?
I saw the tweet. We're starting off on just the right
Yeah, the
foot.
tweet was asking people if they ate Chinese food. Not your boy DRS had Chinese food over here.
We'll see. Well, Thanksgiving was great. We had great games on the NFL side. Great action yesterday. 3 great matchups, top 25 battles. We'll see what shapes up today because now the top 12 teams are up in the air. Whichever outcome happens today could really dictate, upsets in the market because these games are fantastic and really shape the college football playoff.
Like all season long, Joe, we were waiting for moments like this. Like, things will figure themselves out. There's very little time to figure themselves out. Numbers are moving at this point. Monstrous games. And also, we're leaving it up to a committee, Joe. It's not played out on the field. The committee will decide who is getting in for the top 12.
Yeah, we saw an upset last night in Austin, Texas, a 2.5-point underdog, trailed 10-3 at half, made adjustments, and they actually take it to Texas A&M. They win that matchup and make a potential claim, Donnie, to be one of the top 12 teams. They do have 3 top 10 wins, but the problem is the loss against Florida, some of the road, wins over Mississippi State and Kentucky. Does that keep potentially the Longhorns out? They might have a case if potentially Notre Dame, which I don't think, loses to Stanford, Alabama drops to Auburn, and maybe Oklahoma gets upset by LSU, then we could have pandemonium today.
Some of the big games today, and again, starting off at noon, which we'll get to, Ohio State, Michigan, Miami versus Pittsburgh, and then the Iron Bowl tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be between Alabama and Auburn. But, Joe, I want to focus on a couple things first. What we saw yesterday. You brought up the Texas game. I want to save that just for a little bit. Ole Miss, Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. Always a tradition. Obviously, they play each other each and every year. 38-19 was the final in that game. Ole Miss rolls. Ole Miss is going to be in the college football playoff. Ole Miss doesn't know who their coach is going to be. Let me start here with you, Joe. Forget about the game itself and how it played out. Lane Kiffin not making a decision until today means what?
Well, I've said it all along. If he was staying in Oxford, Donnie, he would have came out right and said, listen, I'm dedicated to the Ole Miss Rebels. We want to win potentially an SEC championship, and they could potentially play in that depending upon what transpires today, but more importantly, a college football playoff. Best regular season in Ole Miss history that you see, 11-1 overall. Their only loss came by 8 points to Georgia, a game that they led at half, 21-16, and now you're going to jump ship for $13 million to the LSU Tigers. I understand the monetary aspect, but if you're Ole Miss right now, he's supposed to make a decision at some point today. All the reports say he's made up his mind, and maybe we'll figure it out by 5 o'clock Eastern today. But, Ole Miss should let him coach in this if he wants to. The problem is he's going to potentially a rival, and all of the recruiting and potentially assistant coaches that he takes with him, that'll hurt the Rebels long term.
You know why he's gone, Joe? You know why I think so? Because you see some of the news that came out over the week or come out over this week, and it's like, okay, Florida dipped out. Like, when we're just getting bad signals behind the scenes on this negotiation here. You know who didn't say they're out? LSU. Why? Because that's where I believe he's going.
Yeah, the issue is, and if you read the reports, it's not just the $13 million, Donnie.
Yeah.
$18 million was dedicated to a roster with Brian Kelly. They've now supposedly offered Lane Kiffin the $13 million plus a $25 million roster.
Yeah.
So now Lane Kiffin now has a much easier path to recruit at LSU and get the players he wants as opposed to Ole Miss and Oxford. Not to take away from Ole Miss and what that organization and school is. It's just LSU has bigger resources. They have a bigger talent pool potentially, and they're going to give them anything it takes to potentially get this team back to a national championship. And if you want to set a legacy, you could maybe have one good year at Ole Miss and maybe potentially, 5 or 6 9-3 campaigns, but you're not going to make the playoff each and every season, or at least that's the mindset. You have a better path at LSU or a bigger school.
And also, you're right about that. For the people out there that don't understand like how college football works, like, oh, it's NIL, the SEC, you can win anywhere. That's not necessarily the case. If you're in Louisiana, you have an instant recruiting battle advantage from coming there. And Joe's talking about, how much you're going to pay for your rosters and stuff like that. LSU has more money in their budget than Ole Miss at this point right now. That's why you would go there, and it would make some sense. We'll find out sooner than later, Joe. How about some breaking news on the show? Can we get that while we're live on the show? Lane Kiffin busts in, and he's out of here?
Before 12 noon, before Ohio State, Michigan, you think we're going to have news? I think it's going to come at some point maybe.
Who's leaking it? Who gets, where does this account come from? Who gets this story? Somebody's going to get it.
It should come from Lane. Right, because,
an IG post?
Yeah, you think it's an IG post? I think it's going to come from Lane potentially. And at the end of the day, he has to address the players, right? I mean, they 11-1. They're going to make the playoff, and he's going to cut loose and say, I'm not going to coach you potentially in a playoff. Here's the thing. If he was staying, you just come right out. Why would you want the distraction?
And it hurts your recruiting at this point.
Yeah, but not only that, but you hurt the team mindset. Why would you, if you're dialed into Ole Miss, you're staying, you don't want any outside distractions. That's all he's become right now.
It'd be crazy, too, like if he resigns and let's just say he goes to LSU and then Ole Miss goes on to win the national championship at that point. That would be wild stuff. We saw that before, Michigan back in the late 1980s, early 1990s, I believe, with Fisher steps down or Fisher took over the job.
Yeah,
basketball, where they end up winning the national championship with an interim head coach. Something interesting to watch out. A couple games yesterday, Joe's just to touch on as well. Georgia Tech. Expected to be high scoring, not high scoring. 16-9 final between Georgia and Tech, which obviously knocks Tech out, but also Georgia propelling themselves now to a legitimate chance at winning the SEC championship and then a deep playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, this team to me is playing and peaking at just the right time. Now, it wasn't going to be easy. Lower scoring, I get that. This was Georgia Tech's Super Bowl after losing the week before to Pittsburgh. They had covered 2 straight against the Georgia Bulldogs, against the numbers, so they were battle-tested. And Haynes King still played very well, right?
Yeah.
They contained him in the rushing attack, and that's the main reason why Georgia won this game. I don't look at the offense and say, I have concerns. They could play a lower scoring game like they did against G-Tech, or they could light it up the way they did in the second half against Ole Miss and against Miss State. So this is, to me, one of the most complete teams. I think they match up very well against the likes of, obviously, Indiana and Ohio State. Indiana got the win, dominating fashion over Purdue, but I like Georgia. And again, Kirby has made adjustments from the middle part of the season. The defense is starting to get quarterback pressures, shut down the run, and that's a championship caliber team.
Let me flip over to this one, too, in the SEC yesterday, Joe. Texas A&M and Texas. Final score yesterday, 27-17 Texas. I wasn't surprised by this, and during the week I was calling for the upset for Texas. They played extremely well, and you take a look at Texas A&M's roster here. It's very good. Did they play a lot of high-level teams during the season? No, they didn't, but they're going to make the college football playoff, and deservedly so. Here's where we can start that conversation, Joe. Texas is not going to get in the college football playoff with 3 losses, but Texas is better than North Texas, who is probably going to get that spot. Sooner than later, we'll iron this out, but what I saw from Texas yesterday, Joe, the expectations, this is what we're supposed to see all year.
Yeah.
Clutch play at the quarterback position when you need it, very good defense, high-level talent, winning out at home in double digits.
Yeah, they can win it at home. They just struggle on the road, and that's the problem, right? If they're playing in Austin, they're a complete football team. Knocked off Vanderbilt, knocked off Texas A&M. They trailed 10-3 at half, and what's the biggest attribute why they won? Defensively, yes, but on top of that, Donnie, they rushed for 218 yards, 6.2 yards per carry. We haven't seen that type of rushing attack consistently throughout the year for the Longhorns. Last year, they averaged 158 yards on the ground. This year, they entered this matchup only in the area of about 133, 134. So when the rushing attack isn't there, that means long third downs for Arch Manning. And again, he struggled yesterday. I know he had the touchdown run and the touchdown pass, but again, consistency in terms of very easy throws, I didn't see that, and that's why I still have concerns about this team. If they're on the road, I would bet against them. If they're at home and have a home game, no problem. But we'll see if they even make the college football playoff.
Next up for Texas, the Alamo Bowl, Joe? Squaring up maybe against a team, a lower-level comp team.
The problem is they lost to Florida, Donnie, and they didn't cover against Kentucky and Miss State. That's the problem, and I think the committee will hold it against them.
Committee's going to be watching today, just like everybody else, at 12 noon. We're going to kick off Ohio State and Michigan next, right here on SportsGrid College Football Today, Week 14 edition.
Let's play our game of buy or sell. Buy or sell. Thursday night football should end after week 10, George. You going to buy or sell this?
It's too short a week. It's not healthy for the players. You'll never be able to convince me otherwise here. Either the NFL will tell you, stats tell us no, it's not more injuries. And that's all BS. All right. Should it end after week 10? In a perfect world, there probably should be no Thursday night games. Should it end after week 10? Sure, I'll buy this. But it's not going to. There's too much money here. It's never going to end, all right? They're going to have it forever. You're lucky there's not a Friday, Saturday schedule as well, and there's some laws involved there as to why there's not. The NFL is going to have a schedule or for any day they can get here. It's all about money here. And if the players don't want it, by the way, you got to realize, you're going to lose a significant chunk of revenue out of your salary as well here.
Right.
So I'll buy this, but it doesn't matter. It's not going away.
I mean, George just basically said everything that I was going to say, So what is the reality? The games, so of course I'll buy it. The games are not good. Generally, the home team has a big advantage. If not, the teams are not prepared to play on Thursday night. Yes, there have been some upsets and some underdogs winning. We saw it Thursday night. But the quality of play on Thursday is lower than what it is on the weekends. And there's no end in sight to it because of what George said, the money. That's just all that matters. If Amazon Prime doesn't take it, Netflix will take it. If they don't take it, Apple will take it. If they don't take it, somebody else will take it. I don't know. Hulu, I don't know. You make it up. Someone will. So it is not going away. And, generally speaking, I'm excited every week when the games begin, and then I forget, and then the games usually stink, and I'm like, oh, gosh, this game wasn't good anyway. So George is right. Not going away because of the money.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid College Football Today. Donnie Rightside along with Joe Lisi here. Let's get to some game action. And Joe, it is called the game that they're going to play at noon today, just like they do traditionally. Ohio State and Michigan. Line opens up as a 10.5-point favorite. We're still sitting at 10.5 at most outlets. Some 10s are starting to float across the sports landscape, but a total, Joe, from 42.5 up slightly to 43.5. Cold temperatures, really good defense. Love to see it, Joe. Let's start the breakdown now.
I mean, think about this. Michigan has owned the series. They won 4 straight over the Buckeyes by 11.5 points per game. We know that Michigan can run the football, averaging 223 yards on the ground. Bryce Underwood, passing attack, haven't really gotten going as much. They're averaging 196 passing yards heading into this matchup, Donnie. But it comes down to the Ohio State defense. This is one of the top defenses in the nation, holding opposing offenses to only 70 points per game, 80 rushing yards per game, 2.6 yards per carry. And, oh, by the way, 126 passing yards per game. They're holding opposing quarterbacks to only 60% completion percentage, have only given up 5 touchdowns. Here's the matchup. They've won 11 straight games, Ohio State, after game 1 to Texas, where they allowed basically 155 yards on the ground, every opponent after that under 100 yards. Do you believe that Michigan's going to be able to pound the rock for the way they did last year, $150, $170 on this defense right now? If so, then take the 10.5 points. Because it's a rivalry game, I lean reluctantly to the 10.5. I don't love it. I think Bryce Underwood's going to have to make some plays. I do feel it's an under the 43.5. That is the only way they can win this game. I do feel Julian Sain and this offense have the advantage because of the both wide receivers, Tate and Jeremiah Smith, coming back. And again, they are more complete on every aspect. In order for Michigan to be in this number, They need to win the turnover battle, run the football. That's easier said than done.
Because when I look, Joe, at Ohio State, I do think they're the best defense in the country, but also understand this. When I'm looking at their schedule, if they played Texas to open up, if you just look at the schedule going through and the teams that are ranked right now, the only one that is ranked is Texas, who had a nice win yesterday and came in 16th. You're talking about a lot of bottom feeders that they really beefed up and got after, but also for me, if I'm breaking the game down, I say, well, how can I take Michigan? Joe is right. Hey, there's no way they can line up and just play rock'em sock'em robot and win. They did that last year. And not as talented Michigan team absolutely was more physical than Ohio State last year and got that victory on the road. But I see this year and I say, okay, if Ohio State's defense is exactly, Joe, what we think it is, you're one-dimensional already for Michigan. You can't win one-dimensional. Like, Underwood's got 9 touchdown passes on the year. Joe, he has to throw at least 2 touchdowns in this game for them to be competitive, and I don't think he can do it.
Well, that's the key aspect. If you're back in Michigan, it's not so much, and I believe, Bryce Underwood through the air.
Yeah.
You need to utilize his versatility. When you look at Ohio State overall, really haven't played a lot of mobile quarterbacks in the Big Ten. That's where his athleticism can be an attribute. Can Sharon Moore and that offensive staff utilize and put in some RPOs to put pressure on Ohio State on the edge and then open up play action, and then now you have chunk plays. You only need 1 or 2 of those. The problem is when you look at Ohio State, Donnie, their FBS wins, and I took out the out-of-conference games. The FBS wins, they've won by an average margin of victory, 26.3 points per game. There's only one team on their schedule this year over the 11 games that has thrown for over 200 yards. That was Illinois. So more time. We know that Ohio State's going to come to play. They're most likely going to force Bryce Underwood into long third downs. Can he make plays? That's where can Michigan adjust. You can't play the way you did against Northwestern a couple of weeks ago where you turn on the dial and they're up 23-22 with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, right? This needs to really be a Michigan attack that takes chances. I don't know if they could do that. I know they're playing at home. I know they've won 4 straight, all the pressure on Ohio State in this game. But if you're just looking at the X's and O's aspect, significant advantage to Ohio State on both sides of the ball, and that's why we're seeing a 10.5-point number. Again, I reluctantly lean to the 10.5, but I do feel it's an under again.
Yeah, I'm trying to find here right now, looking for the team total, Joe, for Michigan.
Like total yards like we did last year?
No, we're going to do that coming up a little bit later, but I'm just looking for the team total itself. But I'm just on FanDuel right now. I don't seem to be able to find. There it is. So we got Ohio State points, Michigan points. Michigan's points, Joe, 16.5 at a plus 112 price. Like when I like the under in this game. I think it stays under 43.5. But if I'm saying from a over perspective, like for the game to go over, Michigan's got to score 17 points. Because it's going to be all Ohio State's offense. For me, pushing it over, I think Ohio State has a great chance to cover, and also the game stays under, which means you're pegging for about a, 24-10 type of ball game, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, you have an offense in Ohio State, 37 points per game average, right? And they have the advantage with Bo Jackson and C.J. Donaldson at the running back position, right? That's why when you see Michigan, they're averaging 29 points per game, but it's against garbage competition. The one step up that spot that they had, right? USC on the road, they got smacked around. That's not a very dominant front seven in USC, and they shut down the rushing attack. Again, I know it's later in the year, but in order for Michigan to win this, it does come down to Bryce Underwood. He's going to have to be a playmaker the way he was against Nebraska in that early road win. They need to do it again. Again, all chips in the middle of the table. The only way Michigan has a shot to make the college football playoff is strike the upset. Again, like the under, but I lean to the points with the Wolverines.
And we always look at like correlations on how these markets sort of feel themselves out. 43.5 is the total, Joe. Bryce Underwood, which again we're going to spend a lot more time a little bit later in the show on props. 150.5 is his passing prop. There's no, and again, sometimes, well, the winning, there's no way. We saw it last year. Let's basically line up in a Wildcat. We'll just out-physical Ohio State and win it. Yes, that can happen. He has to throw, Joe, 2 touchdown passes and throw for over 200 yards for me for them to win the game. I don't care about being close. Hey, we kept it in the number 20-10. We covered by a half of a point. I'm talking winning this football game. You can't just be Michigan. I'm going to get just more physical. You can't do that.
No, you can't.
I don't think you can.
Because, again, they're struggling with third down efficiency, and that's a problem. And when I mean struggle, they're not anywhere near 50% third down conversions, right? They're in the area of, I believe, 31, 32% for their third down offense. Well, Ohio State's converting one of the best in the country at 55%. Oh, by the way, their defense is only giving up 28% on third downs. That means you have to be very efficient on your drives or shorten it down like a Navy-Army type of game where you give Julian Sayin limited opportunities. That is the only way, Donnie, that I believe Michigan could win this game. If you're back in Michigan, you're rooting for an under the way you were last year, 13-10. If you're taking the over, it's all Buckeyes.
And this is not a battle-tested team for Ohio State, which means that they're not used to playing close games. Let's see if you can get them into the fourth quarter, Michigan, and keep it close and ratchet up that pressure at home, get the crowd into it, and maybe steal another game. We'll have much more on this game coming up in just a little bit, but we got to keep moving, Joe. Iron Bowl action on deck next.
Let's play our game of buy or sell. Buy or sell. Thursday night football should end after week 10. Let's play our game of buy or sell. Buy or sell. Thursday night football should end after week 10, George. You going to buy or sell this?
It's too short a week. It's not healthy for the players. You'll never be able to convince me otherwise here. You know, the NFL will tell you, oh, stats tell us no, it's not more injuries in there.
The future of the prediction markets, I think, at least for now, may be in the hands of the federal courts. But the good news for those who support prediction markets is that these court battles may last for another 2 to 3 years before we get clarity around the law. And nominee Seelig was handpicked by Donald Trump, not because he was neutral on prediction markets, but because he would do nothing to slow it down.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is Our Fam. You don't know about Our Fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds.
SportsGrid College Football today, right back at it. Week 14, rivalry week. Donnie Rightside along with Joe Lisi here. The Iron Bowl. I mean, my goodness, some of these epic finishes in the Iron Bowl over the years. And usually a championship will be provided from this game, or championship feelings have been dashed. That's not going to be the case for Auburn. They're just looking to dash Alabama's run at maybe a college football playoff here, Joe. But I love the Iron Bowl. I love the pageantry. And we take a look at the line here. It's 5.5. We should have a good football game today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. This is my favorite game of the day, just from the action aspect and side aspect. I have a best bet in this ball game, but Alabama has won 5 straight in the series. They've won by an average margin of victory of 14 points per game. We know that Ty Simpson and this offense can throw it. They're averaging 292 yards through the air, running it, Donnie, ineffectively. I want to say Alabama ineffectively. Only 123 yards per game, 3.8 yards per carry. That's one of the worst in Alabama history over the past 15 to 17 seasons. We know that Nick Saban used to love to run the football. They're giving up 121 yards on the ground, and they're going up against a run-heavy offense right now in Auburn. Auburn only averaging around 370 total yards. They like to pound the rock, 170 on the ground, 196 through the air. Ashton Daniels, the former Stanford quarterback, will get the start today. He did start or come in the win against Arkansas. Also played on the road against Vanderbilt. They redshirted him a couple games. They took him out. Deuce Knight came in last week. He's out now, and it's back to Daniels in this matchup. But you're talking about a front seven in Auburn, very good against the run. They shut you down. They're physical. They're only giving up 2.6 yards per carry, 90 yards per game. They've held 7 opponents, Donnie, under 100 yards rushing. They're 5-6 on the year, looking to become bowl eligible. They would love nothing more than to knock out Kalen DeBoer and Alabama at a playoff contention. I'm going to say it right now. Best bet of the day. I love Auburn.
Wow.
I think they win the game outright. I think they step up. I have no confidence in Alabama, especially on the road. And they got exposed by Oklahoma a couple weeks ago. I think DJ Dirk and that defense are dialed in. I think it's an upset in the making.
Listen to Joe Lisi, not your boy DRS. I actually like Alabama today in this game, but Joe, doing scouting, I haven't watched Auburn play yet this year, so that's why I'm going on hunches right now for the Alabama Crimson Tide. But understand this. I do know statistics and how they line up. You say to yourself, Auburn is 1-6 in conference play. How could they compete with Alabama, and why is that only a 5.5-point spread at this point? Look at the games. 24-17 Oklahoma, 16-10 Texas A&M, 20-10 Georgia, 23-17 Missouri. Beat Arkansas. You lose to Kentucky 10-3. You lose to Vanderbilt 45-38. What does that tell you? They're in every single football game right down to the wire here, Joe. And I guess the expectations on the line. Same thing today.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing 4.5s in some books creep into the market. Again, you know, it's a rivalry game. And if you're DJ Durkin and you're the offensive staff, Nix will be calling the plays for Auburn today. You pull out all the stops. If there's trick plays, and it's not like Auburn doesn't have playmakers. They do. You know, Singleton and Coleman are two big play wide receivers. They're big bodies. They can jump and catch the football at its highest point. Problem has been with Hugh Freeze calling plays earlier. He didn't dial up plays to get the football to his playmakers. This offensive staff has, and I like Cobb, the running back. Again, he's got 900 yards on the year, over 5 yards per carry. They utilize a little tempo. Playing at home, crazy things happen against Alabama in these games.
Yeah.
You want to give me 5.5 points? I booked it last night. I took the Tigers at home.
You know what I love about this game too, because it's crazy to say this. Like, oh, would it be more important if like Alabama was undefeated and number one in the country? Like, no. Like Auburn's like, this is perfect. If Auburn was, you know, let's just say Alabama was undefeated and you beat them, yeah, you're going to celebrate. But you know what? Alabama goes, watch us win the national championship now. You have a chance if you're the Auburn Tigers in this game to beat Alabama, Joe, and you knock them out of the college football playoff. It's like a double roundhouse punch today for them.
It is, and you know, we don't know who the coach of Auburn will be. We heard Summerall being mentioned potentially as a name. Coach Bowden has brought it up. He's from Alabama. Do they go that route? But, you know, I've always said if they beat Alabama, DJ Durkin has done a really good job with that defense. Statistically, they were in every game and shut down some of the most explosive offenses in the SEC, right? They held Georgia to 20. To your point, Marcel Reed and Texas A&M, 16 points. They knock off Alabama and Ty Simpson, right?
Yep.
That's going to be a dynamic effort. I would give the opportunity potentially to DJ Durkin and that staff. We'll see how it plays out. But again, they're going to have to throw the football a little bit. This Alabama defense giving up only $148 in the back end. They've held basically 10 opponents under 200 yards passing. Yep. They're going to need a good effort today, but Daniels gives you that type of dual athleticism. I just think Auburn's playing with house money. They didn't cover against Georgia in the spot. I think they do against Alabama.
Give me a quick look, Joe. 43.5 the opening number on the total. 46.5 game day.
That's incredible because, again, I think we lean to the over here. I think we get points, though. I think Auburn can move the football. I think they can run it on them, too.
Kick sixes. What's the chance of a kick six happening in this game?
Maybe a pick six.
Oh, pick sixes, kick sixes, and next, maybe the most important game in the entire college football season. It's Miami Pitt. It's Miami Pitt, baby. Next. Close to $1 million in volume being traded right now in the Offensive Player of the Year. If you did put $100 down on Jonathan Taylor, that would pay back $143, so a 43% increase on your money that you had. There are a lot of long shots in here, but it doesn't feel like those would be good bets. Like, hey, I'm going to put it on Justin Herbert. Well, yeah, if Justin Herbert wins it, Joe, a $100 wager would pay back $10,000. They even have a market for if you want to bet Malik Neighbors.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They loved Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
What are those things called?
A shooting star.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that one. Like it just burns up quick, and you love it while you can see it, and bing, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
Right.
That's my fear for Cam Scatterville.
Yeah, and that's not a big deal, but I will say it's weird, and it seems like he really enjoys that attention, which is all fine because he's a young guy, but possibly dangerous in a city like New York.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is our fam. You don't know about our fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Right back on SportsGrid. College football today, Week 14, rivalry week, and sometimes you can walk by and say, you know what? What's that noise coming from, Joe? And I hear from Joe's dressing room here today. It's great. To be a Miami Hurricane. I mean, that's not what I'm hearing all over the place.
Yeah, nuts.
Come on.
Now, listen, this is an opportunity for Miami to step up. They have won 3 straight games by an average margin of victory of 26.3 points per game, but didn't get the victory in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech. They had to throw a touchdown with 20 seconds left just to make it look good. The style points, Donnie, they struggle. Look at you.
All year long, we've been back in those
please,
games. LSU out in the track.
Now Pitt got right last week, right? Pitt was on the road. A lot of people like G-Tech, and they smashed them. Built a 28-0 first-half lead. They held on 42-28. Defensively, they forced turnovers against Haynes King. Were able to run the football for over 150 yards. And does it continue today? It's a little chilly here. And I know we're in New Jersey, but still, Pitt's going to be chilly today. Can the Hurricanes step up? It's eerily reminiscent of a 2017 team that went in there against Kenny Pickett and against Mark Richt, right? And they came out with a loss. What was it, 12-7 they lost that game? Yeah, it was Malik Rozier, wasn't it? No, was it?
I think it was. Wasn't that the last time they got beat down?
Well, I just remember Pickett running the football. He was a freshman. They got the victory. It was an ugly game for Mark Richt. All I could tell you is you can't have that type of situation today for Mario Cristobal. This is a team that has better talent than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is battle-tested. They're at home, have won the 4 home games by an average margin of victory of 35 points per game. This offense, though, if they can run the football, and that's the one thing, you look at Miami last week, a lot of it was in the second half against Tech, but they gave up well over 5 yards per carry last week to the Hokies. If that happens today, they're going to lose. I'm taking the 6.5 points. I like Pittsburgh, but I do like the over 49.5 today.
Yeah, I do think we get points today. Absolutely. I'm with you on that one. If we do take a look and say, well, how's Miami going to catch a break, Joe, with temperatures 35 degrees? It hurts them. I'll tell you where they do catch a break. No precipitation in the market, but also, Joe, 2.6 mile per hour winds here. That's really going to help because if you tell me it's 32 degrees, Joe, and you got 10 to 15 mile an hour winds, I'm worried about Miami. Now, granted, Pitt's a good football team. They're in the top 25. We'll see what lays out today, but I do think Miami has an edge today because they are the better football team with so much left to play for. Yes, Pitt has stuff to play for. I'm not downgrading them, but for me and the Miami Hurricanes, as you see my bet card there today, Joe, over 49.5. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Miami, you can't be complacent in this matchup. Carson Beck and this offense have stepped up in recent weeks. You just look at the passing numbers, Donnie, over the last 5 weeks. Let me go through it. 274, 261, 367, and 335. So the passing attack has carried through. Can it carry through in a tough environment against a team that's going to force it? The one thing about Pittsburgh is their front seven is going to force you into long third downs. You cannot run on Pittsburgh effectively. They entered that game last week giving up only 84 rushing yards per game, and they held one of the most explosive rushing attacks in the ACC. Georgia Tech, that it was averaging 233 in that game to only 121 yards on the ground. They're only giving up 2.6 yards per carry and 90 rushing yards per game. If they can't run it with Fletcher and those running backs today, that means long third downs for Carson Beck. Advantage Pittsburgh. Again, I've seen this time and time again. I want to buy into Miami as being a complete football team. They got it going against garbage competition right now. This is a really good football team with a defensive-minded head coach in a tough environment, cold conditions. I think we get the over, but I think they lose the game outright.
How about this, though, Joe? Notre Dame beat Pitt by 3 touchdowns. Let me just say if Miami, and I'm not saying 4 touchdowns, that's ridiculous. Let's just say Miami does just about the same thing that Notre Dame did to Pitt. Are we getting a bump from Miami in this game? Is this the 3-touchdown win there at at Pitt for Notre Dame, and then we flip it over to Miami?
If it's between Miami and Notre Dame, Donnie, I'm a believer. It doesn't matter when the win happened.
Yeah.
You put the team with the head-to-head victory.
100%.
I agree.
100%.
And so, but the perception is, and you know that and this is why you like Notre Dame, they start 0-2, right? And then they reel off 10 potentially straight
hottest team in the country.
Right. But if it's between Miami and them, if I'm on the committee, there's no way you could put them ahead of Miami. You just can't. Miami's deserving. If that's the situation, they would have done enough, especially with the head-to-head win. Doesn't matter by how much, how little, when it came. The head-to-head matters. Otherwise, don't play the games. This is a problem with the committee now. But Miami's fighting for their life. They need to win this game. They need to win it convincingly, and you have to cover this number. You have to win it by 7 or more. It can't be a 21-20 victory and then hope to take care of business now. You won the last 3 games by basically 26 points per game. Dominate today, and there should be no cause of concern. They're going to need some help depending upon what plays out in Oklahoma today.
Yeah, and again, everybody over the holidays, you have the family come over. They ask you, like, hey, what's your opinion on so-and-so making the college football championship or what's happening in the NFL? And I've been trying to explain it to people, and it's hard because we don't live in an even playing field in college football. But the one thing we do know is if you play each other, like there's no other talking points between Notre Dame and Miami. Strength of schedule. I don't care if Miami played 8 Division III teams, then played Notre Dame and beat them. You're still going to give the edge to Miami because they beat Notre Dame straight up. We're going to see how that plays out because we'll also get talking a little bit later. That number is coming down for Notre Dame to get into the college football playoff, and that might be a factor on it, Joe. But we'll spend more time a little bit here with Miami and Pitt. It's a great game to try to line up, but the best of the rest, Joe, let's get to your LSU boys here. Taking on Oklahoma with a total of 35.5. And the reason being, Joe, 50-degree temperatures, which you don't mind. 20-plus mile-an-hour sustained winds. This looks like LSU might struggle on offense because Oklahoma, they'll stop your pass game, your rush game, and now I don't have to worry about your pass game? Come on now.
Yeah, again, if I'm Oklahoma, I know I have the edge, Mateer over Van Buren. My offense got going against a very good Missouri Tiger secondary. We hit the big play to Satenga early on, 85 yards. Mateer looked good at times, but that front seven's playing as good as anybody in the country. They get into the college football playoff, they can honestly make a run because of how good they are in run support, and they're opportunistic in the back end as well. But this game, again, they got dominated by LSU last year. Now, granted, that was Nussmeier and a different wide receiver core, but LSU has athletes. The biggest thing, whether you're taking or laying the 10.5, is do you believe LSU is going to be motivated, right? They struggled against Western Kentucky. I lean to Oklahoma. I don't love this game from a side perspective. 36.5, I lean to the over just because it's too low. I get that, there's wind in the forecast. But again, if you're Oklahoma as well, you can't afford to have a close game. So style points matter. Take care of business. But it would be OU or bust to me. I'm always back in LSU in a tough spot. I just don't know where their mindset is. And are some of these guys checked out last game of the regular season?
Now maybe you get a Lane Kiffin. I'm coming on board here. Shares little tips with the boys. Oklahoma.
Now, we heard reports that he's almost now, if you're looking on some of the other outlets, He's like, it's a done deal. He's going to LSU. Do some of these guys want to style out and showcase their talent? With Lane watching, that's always we saw it with Virginia Tech. James Franklin was there. The Hokies
busted him out.
But they didn't cover. And that's all that matters. They didn't cover the 18.5, or the 17.
By the way, if we're looking at pictures, did you notice on Thanksgiving Day at Lane's house they said there was folding tables in there, a sign that movers already came out,
scooped
up the good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff starting to come out.
Here's the thing. I mean, again, if that comes out during the game or prior to the game,
it's got to.
You think it's coming out before
Somebody's
the game?
leaking that immediately.
How do you leak it if the school doesn't put out the report?
There's big boosters in there, Joe. Big boosters going to go home. You got boots on the ground down there. You got any information?
From what I heard,
yeah,
literally, they think he's going there. But again, I don't know.
Let's go to because we use like
doesn't make
the
any
Kalshi
sense.
market stuff that a market today. What time does this get leaked out? Like if you said, you know what, if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm putting it out. Don't you have to put it? Are you saying, well, LSU has a game, I'm going to wait for LSU's game to be over because it's disrespectful to do that? Like, is that even way into it?
I'll just say 5 p.m. Eastern. 5 p.m. Eastern. 3:30 is the game in.
He can't do it in the middle of the game. No.
Why not, Don?
No,
halftime?
I don't think I'm going. But somebody's going to leak this though. Like
right,
I
so
think
it's
when the
before
game
show,
ends.
so
No, it should be when the game ends. But somebody's leaking it.
All right, so then
Whit's going to leak it. What about Whit? Is Whit going to be in the atmosphere leaking this? Look, I got inside information.
No.
Inside information, people. It's what we do. We'll be right back. Close to $1 million in volume being traded right now in the Offensive Player of the Year. If you did put $100 down on Jonathan Taylor, that would pay back $143, so a 43% increase on your money that you had. There are a lot of long shots in here, but it doesn't feel like those would be good bets. Like, hey, I'm going to put it on Justin Herbert. Well, yeah, if Justin Herbert wins it, Joe, a $100 wager would pay back $10,000. They even have a market for if you want to bet Malik Neighbors.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They loved Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
What are those things called?
A shooting star.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that one. Like it just burns up quick. And you love it while you can see it, and bing, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
Right.
That's my fear for Cam Scatterboot.
Yeah, and that's not a big deal, but I will say it's weird, and it seems like he really enjoys that attention, which is all fine because he's a young guy.
Yeah.
But possibly dangerous in a city like New York.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is our fam. You don't know about our fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Saturday it is right here on SportsGrid. College football today. Donnie Rightside along with Joe Lisi. Now's the time we got to get that information from the coach. Everybody knows our coach, Coach Terry Bowden. Coach, how are we feeling today? Rivalry Saturday.
Oh, man, I got pumped up yesterday with great football. We got even more today, and it's all over the country. Every conference, big games across the board. A lot of decisions are going to be made after this day, I'll tell you.
Oh, Coach, let's talk about the biggest decision maybe. Not who's going to be in the college football playoff. Where is Lane Kiffin actually going to go? Two-part question for you, Coach. Where do you think he goes? And more importantly, what time is the announcement today?
Yeah, it'll be – well, they've already made the statement. All I'm saying is he ate turkey dinner on a coffee table in Oxford. What table – where is the table going to be at Christmas? That's the big thing when he eats dinner there. But they've said they've got to make it today. I'm just wondering, do they wait till after the Auburn-Alabama game to see if Auburn beats Alabama? Does that put Ole Miss in the SEC championship game now? Boy, a lot of things have to be made. I would think it more likely Sunday morning it might be made. I don't know. But anyway, they say Florida's out. I've always thought that deep down he wanted to be the next Steve Spurrier with the visor and all at Florida. I was a little bit shocked if he's moving that that's not his favorite choice.
But, Coach, let's just say, what if there's the outside chance he stays? And now Summerall potentially is linked to Florida. What does LSU do now? Because Drinkwitz just signed an extension with Missouri. They'd be put in really a bad situation entering December.
Well, just like a football coach, an AD and a search committee better have a plan B and a plan C, because nothing works out quite like you think. A few years back, Auburn thought they had Lane Kiffin, so the Lane Kiffin thing is not going to be decided until he decides it. But that's why people want to go early. North Texas coach went to Oklahoma State. That was a great hire on their part, but those kind of hires run out. Now, there are good coaches out there, but I imagine everybody there has got plan A and plan B. The problem is, like you said, when everybody's plan A and plan B are the same, there's going to be some problems.
How about this, Coach? Let's get into some rivalry action. We're going to get to Alabama-Auburn, which you have some great insight on because, you were a coach in that game. But before we get there, the game takes place at 12 noon today, and a hated rivalry it is. Ohio State and Michigan. Ohio State on the road, roughly a double-digit favorite today. But Michigan has had their number the past couple years. Can they have their number one more time today, Coach?
I like the points in Michigan. Ryan Day is 0-4 against Michigan. The receivers, it's questionable how healthy they're going to be, and I think that impact it's going to make some impression on the head. The head coach has got to be relaxed, because if he's uptight about this game, and I think he is, because you don't want to lose 5 in a row to Michigan. So I think it's going to be a tight ball game. Ohio State's going to have to run the ball a little bit more. It's going to keep it close. But I think Ohio State has enough to win the football game. But they have got to make sure that they keep pressure off that quarterback. Their quarterback has not had a lot of pressure. If Michigan could put some pressure on that quarterback, that's one thing Saban has not faced all year. But I think Ohio State will win a tight ball game, and Ryan Day will be able to loosen up a little bit after that game.
Coach, I want to take the Bryce Underwood side for Michigan, the quarterback for the Wolverines. He's going up against a defense that has held 10 straight opponents under 100 yards rushing, and they've only given up one team to throw for over 200 yards. What can this offense do with Bryce Underwood to potentially put some pressure on Ohio State's defense?
Well, the biggest thing they can do is to have our defense play great. What can the offense do? What can they do to help him? One, don't try to go out there and win it in one play. Be willing to punt. Be willing to make safe decisions. If your defense is playing well, if the game stays close, remember a close, tight ball game at home at Michigan goes in their favor, because you talk about being uptight. I promise you, if the head coach is uptight, I think the whole sideline's uptight. So the key is defense play well. Don't force the quarterback to make decisions early in the game that he doesn't need to make.
Coach Terry Bowden, we love to talk to him each and every Saturday here, but now we're going to get that insight you absolutely have to know. It's the Iron Bowl tonight, 7:30 p.m. Coach is right in the middle of it. Talk to us first, Coach, about the game itself, what it means for the state of Alabama on Iron Bowl day.
Well, there's nothing like, the state of Alabama, there's really nothing that state hangs its hat on but college football. There's 3 sports. There's football season, there's recruiting, and there's spring football. Nothing else matters. They don't even number their years. They name them. Bow over the top, the reverse, the kick. The biggest play of this game will be what they call that year for the rest of their lives. And when Auburn plays at home, they've played 17 of these Iron Bowls in Auburn. They've won 10, mostly as underdogs. As an example, 1993, 95, and 97, I beat Alabama all 3 of those years at home. We were underdogs twice. I just think it's going to be a walk-off field goal for Auburn. I just think, and I was there last week. They are so excited. Both quarterbacks have played well. The new coach is coming. I don't know who it is, but there's an excitement that's there right now because of the future. And I just think it's an uplifting atmosphere. Not that Alabama's not a great team and Alabama can win, but I just feel like this is a year that Auburn's going to knock them off and add a little more mystery to what's going to go on in the SEC and postseason play.
Coach, what has been the biggest change for Auburn, obviously releasing and getting rid of Hugh Freeze to what we see this offense now, because they seem like they have more continuity?
Well, they've been able to mix the run with the pass. If you look, now they lost against Vandy, but they had a ton of offense. A couple of 100-yard rushers. They threw for a ton of yards. They didn't turn the ball over. Then they played the next week. It's just a Mercer College, but they used the backup quarterback who hadn't had any reps. He runs for 176 and throws for 1 million in a game that really was not a tough game to play. But I just think the play calling, the difference in the way they approach their offense. They'll go back to Ashton Daniels at quarterback against Alabama. He's the more mature, experienced quarterback. And I think because of the way they mix their plays up, they run in, pass, I think that's what gives them a chance to move the ball a little bit versus Alabama.
Coach, can we get a quick take from you? Miami of Florida today up at Pitt. And the reason why I say Florida, it's cold temperatures in Pitt here today. Who do you think prevails in this one with everything ahead for Miami if they can get a victory and try to get into the college football playoff?
Well, that weather is the only thing that scares me. Because, again, I coached in Miami and I coached in Pittsburgh. A lot of different places and differences in the weather. But you know what? I'm sitting there thinking Miami's going to play their best game. Miami's look at themselves in the mirror. We've been better. They've been saying, we're better than everybody we played against. What in the heck are we doing with these losses? I think they will play their best game. They'll put some pressure on that quarterback. Heinzel will throw an interception or two, and they'll win and cover. I'm picking Miami to win and cover in this football game.
On Rivalry Saturday, the information you need, it's Coach Terry Bowden. Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll certainly talk to you again next week. We got a lot more information to get to, and we'll be right back after this short break. Close to $1 million in volume being traded right now on the Offensive Player of the Year. If you did put $100 down on Jonathan Taylor, that would pay back $143, so a 43% increase on your money that you had. There are a lot of long shots in here, but it doesn't feel like those would be good bets. Like, hey, I'm going to put it on Justin Herbert. Well, yeah, if Justin Herbert wins it, Joe, a $100 wager would pay back $10,000. They even have a market for if you want to bet Malik Neighbors.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They loved Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
What are those things called?
A shooting star.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that one. Like it just burns up quick. And you love it while you can see it, and bing, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
Right.
That's my fear for Cam Scatterby.
Yeah, and that's not a big deal, but I will say it's weird, and it seems like he really enjoys that attention, which is all fine because he's a young guy, but possibly dangerous in a city like New York.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is our fam. You don't know about our fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Scat Pack, Rat Pack time right here. We do it each and every week, same time here. Some of our favorite games of the day, which includes the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Yeah, they're in the Rat Pack game because they're going to drop the hammer on Stanford. 4-touchdown plus favorite here for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Joe. Before I let you even comment on those Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I don't understand what's going on right now. Can we get a graphic up there? Do we have the graphic of the actual odds here for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish? This doesn't make any sense to me, Joe. Like, look at the first 2 weeks. Yes, they lost. Week number 3 doesn't look good. Then they start climbing. They finally hit a minus 2,200 favorite. They're down to minus 600 or so now. What is going on here?
It's a dead cat bounce. They sold it to the
they dropped it. They pulled it on me.
They sold right into
Notre
it,
Dame
Donnie.
coin is down, Joe. ND coin is down right now.
Oh, boy. You bought right into it. You kept buy. We talk about it. The victory by Texas opens up the discussion of potentially a 9-win and 3 football team making the college football playoff. Depending upon what transpires today, all of a sudden Notre Dame's not as much of a shoo-in to make the top 12, and that's what we'll see play out later today. We'll see from these results by 3:30, 4 o'clock, you're going to have more price movement depending upon what happens with Miami and Pittsburgh, depending upon what happens if Oklahoma has a lead and dominates LSU. So these are the stories that we have to play out, along with the 7 o'clock games later tonight. So we're not going to know legitimately where Notre Dame stands until potentially their game against Stanford. It's a 10:30 kick. They should dominate this game. I'll just say this. Stanford has been a little pesky with these big spreads. You look, they caught 20 and a half to Boston College. They won the game outright. They went toe-to-toe, catching 17 with 17 and a half to Florida State. Won the game outright. I understand there were certain parameters. They covered at home against Cal.
Yeah.
They've been a very good home team. Road team, not so much. They're catching 32 and a half. I know that Notre Dame put up 70 last week and built a 35-0 first quarter lead. But I'm taking the 32 and a half with Stanford.
And again, Joe, from like a handicapping perspective, is probably right on this, because if you're just looking at the nuts and bolts of the game, the line probably should be 28 and a half. But most people looking at it optimistically by saying Notre Dame really needs to hang it on them, which why now we're seeing in the marketplace, Joe, 32 and a half and a total of 49 and a half. So if you're handicapping this game, you're probably getting a little bit of a discount, but also at the same time, you know, if you're Notre Dame, Joe, here's the best part about it. This line, Joe, fluctuation, which is great that we have it in the rack pack, it should be a blowout. But let's just say the 12 noon game, Miami gets beat. Now you're just looking at Notre Dame going, just win the game by 1 point, and it's not going to matter, because it feels like the head-to-head competition was Notre Dame and Miami on the field, but now we have the new head-to-head is we're playing on the same day. One team has to look more impressive, because let me tell you something right now. Miami wins by 10 points. Notre Dame wins by 6. I think Notre Dame gets jumped by Miami. I honestly do. I honestly do.
In that situation, they should, right? Because the head-to-head, again, we talk about the head-to-head. That matters. If Miami beats Pittsburgh, it doesn't matter by how much, 7 or more, and Notre Dame struggles, then Miami should jump Notre Dame, and they should be ahead of them, you know, to start. Why play the games then? We go back to that. But again, style points will matter, and that's why it's tough from the spread perspective, because you're already in a deficit, 33 zip. Right? You know, are you going to have that type of consistency on the road against a team that's probably going to shorten the game on you, right? If you're Stanford and you're Frank Reich, this is your last game. He's here on an interim basis. He would love nothing more than to knock off Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame. So I like the under. I like Stanford. I think it's an ugly game.
New coach for Stanford, too, Joe. How about this? Texas Tech and West Virginia. Rat Pack game number 2. 23.5-point favorite for Texas Tech against West Virginia. Steve Slayton and Pat White not walking through that door, Joe. Texas Tech looking to drop the hammer today, or maybe a little bit closer than the experts think.
I like West Virginia, and again, I know it's tough, but I really like what Rich Rod has done. 4-7 overall. They're not going to a bowl, but they're looking ahead towards 2026. Texas Tech, all they do is pick them up and put them down. But they're a dominant home team. The one loss did come on the road to Arizona State. Haven't been as dominant in road type of environments as they have been in Lubbock. I'm going to take the points. I actually took 23.5, and I took the key number 24.5 just in case, to get both sides in case if it hits right in the middle. But I like the Mountaineers at home.
My goodness, for years, Joe, this game, Florida State and Florida, was the marquee of the weekend. Now we have it in the Rat Pack because they both stink here. Oh, like, what was it? Mickey Andrews' defense going up against Steve Spurrier's offense. Unbelievable. Now we see a 1.5-point favorite for Florida at home in the Swamp.
I told you Florida was only going to get up for one of these rivalry games. Last week I had Tennessee. Now they were 1.5-point favorite. I think Florida covers. This is the Super Bowl. They are up for this game, not sold on Florida State in a road environment.
Time to hit some props, people. The top of the hour is coming up. We're going to hit the biggest games on the market and go over each position player you need to know. Running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, and much more right here on the SportsGrid Network. We're getting you ready for Rivalry Day right here on College Football Today. Close to $1 million in volume being traded right now in the Offensive Player of the Year. If you did put $100 down on Jonathan Taylor, that would pay back $143, so a 43% increase on your money that you had. There are a lot of long shots in here, but it doesn't feel like those would be good bets. Like, hey, I'm going to put it on Justin Herbert. Well, yeah, if Justin Herbert wins it, Joe, a $100 wager would pay back $10,000. They even have a market for if you want to bet Malik Neighbors.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
What are those things called?
A shooting star.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that one. Like, it just burns up quick, and you love it while you can see it, and bing, it's gone in the blink of an eye.
Right.
That's my fear for Cam Scatterby.
Yeah, and that's not a big deal, but I will say it's weird, and it seems like he really enjoys that attention, which is all fine because he's a young guy.
Yeah.
But possibly dangerous in a city like New York.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The play is our fam. You don't know about our fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro Basketball Today, only on